So you're thinking about buying a home in Lower Westchester. Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Living in Westchester, New York. I'm Ileana Fleischman, and in this series, I'm going to be going over all of the steps for the home buying process. So I'll give you a step-by-step guide on what it takes and what we will have to go through to get you to the finish line of owning your new home. This guide can be helpful to anyone looking for a home, really, but especially if you're looking for a home in New York State, because that's where I practice, and specifically within Lower Westchester and New York State. Let's get started with the first step. So the first step is your homework phase, right? It's all your due diligence. It's putting all of your pieces together so that we can start looking at homes. And I know that's what you really want to be doing, and that's what you really want to be talking about. But first things first, you want to speak with a mortgage professional who's going to help you determine what your budget is. Without your budget, we really can't start looking. And I know sometimes people have an idea in their mind of what they can afford. Obviously, you know what your budget is. You know how much income you have. You know how much is going out. You know what you're comfortable with. But it doesn't necessarily always equate with what your pre-approval is going to say, and that's why it's so important to speak with a mortgage professional or mortgage lender up front, because there may be things that you don't realize are going on in the background, like some kind of unpaid debt or hit to your credit score, or things that can be fixed very easily but may delay you if you don't do this up front. So once you get together with your mortgage lender, you're going to obtain a pre-approval letter. This pre-approval letter will state your maximum budget. So if you are thinking about, hey, I want to purchase a home at 1.2 million, but the maximum budget is 1.5, make sure the letter states 1.5. I know you're more comfortable with the 1.2, and trust me, I will keep it in mind and we'll do our best to keep you within 1.2 or less. But you want to keep the 1.5 on it because it makes you look more attractive when we are presenting an offer. If you're competing on an offer and everyone else is maxing out because all they can afford is 1.2, but you are not maxing out, you're actually quite comfortable and you have more room to go up, then you look like a more solid buyer. It doesn't mean the house is now worth 1.5 million. I know a lot of buyers get scared about that. They say, well, if they see how much more I can offer, are they going to want more money? No, it doesn't work like that. Just because I walk into, the store to buy a $20 t-shirt and I pay with a $100 bill doesn't mean that t-shirt is now worth $100. It just means I have a lot more money left over than someone who went in with just a $20 bill. Okay, so it just gives the seller and the seller's agent a lot more confidence about you. You're not overstretching, you're not pushing your limits. You actually have some room to breathe, so you may have an easier time getting through the mortgage process and getting your mortgage approval. So I like that buyer a little bit better. So please listen to me. Keep the number at your max. It won't change what you have to pay for the house, I promise. Also on your pre-approval letter, so you're going to have your maximum budget, and you're also going to have your down payment. Maybe you're a first-time home buyer and you want to take advantage of some of the opportunities that you have, so you're only coming in with 3.5% or 5% down, or you're putting, a standard 20%, which is what's standard in our area. A lot of times people do go over that and they'll put 30 or 50% down. Whatever your down payment amount is, that'll be clearly stated in your letter. And the third thing is the letter will also outline what kind of financing will you be using. First-time home buyer doing an FHA loan, or are you doing a conventional loan? Are you doing a renovation loan? Is that a 203K? Are you doing a home style renovation loan? And also, are you purchasing a single family home, or is this a pre-approval for a multifamily home? All of that is clearly stated in your pre-approval letter, and it makes things super neat and clear for a home seller when we present your offer and use the pre-approval to back it up. So if you're not using a pre-approval, make sure your proof of funds are up to date and clear. If you need to get a letter from your brokerage account or whatever, just make sure you have that ready, cross out any account numbers, and we should be good to go with that. Important thing that I you want to make sure you're aware of and that you discuss with your mortgage professional is, what are the major do's and don'ts? You want to ask them, is there anything I shouldn't be doing, anything I should be doing? What can I work on? What shouldn't I work on? They may have a beautiful list printed out for you, or they may not. Just make sure you have the conversation. A lot of times people don't know what they don't know, and they don't realize, hey, I shouldn't be opening new lines of credit when I'm looking for a new property and I'm hoping to close on a house soon. Or, hey, maybe I shouldn't be financing this, Tesla right now. Maybe I should wait until after I close on the house. So make sure you ask the questions. Make sure that if you are thinking about making major purchases, you do have those conversations with your lender and see if that would have an impact as well. And I think the last part of the process for getting yourself ready is going to be selecting a real estate attorney. Usually your real estate professional can help you with that. They can suggest some local attorneys that they've worked with, that they have good relationships with, or clients have been really happy with. But if you have friends or family who are local and have done real estate transactions recently, then you can also ask them for recommendations as well. I usually recommend that clients speak to 2 to 3 attorneys so they can get a feel for who they have a good rapport with and who they feel comfortable with. The price ranges generally range, I would say now, from around $1,800 to about $2,500. And some of the attorneys will have you give them half of their fee when you go in to sign the contract, and then the other half of their fee, they'll ask for it at the closing. Some attorneys only ask for a small percentage upfront or no percentage upfront, and then you pay the rest or all of it at the closing. Keep in mind when you're choosing an attorney is, please make sure they are a real estate attorney. You don't want someone who only does criminal law or litigation or estate planning to be doing your real estate transaction. There's a lot of nuances, and someone who doesn't practice in real estate may not be able to represent you in the best way. Doesn't matter if it's your cousin or your stepdad's best friend who's going to give you a deal. Sometimes it's just not in your best interest to have that person do the transaction for you, and it may even cause you unnecessary stress, headaches, and delays. And I've also seen it where you can maybe even lose a deal because the communication is off or whatever. Another important piece is to make sure that your attorney is local. If the way deals are done in our area in Lower Westchester is very specific. The way deals are done in the city is also really specific, right? In the city, you're doing tons of co-ops and condos. But if that's all you do, then you're not as familiar with single family and multifamily transactions the way we do them in Lower Westchester. If you're doing things upstate, you're dealing with things that we don't really see, like, well water and septic tanks. Those are not very, very common here. So you want to have someone who's local, who understands the nuances in this area and also understands the pace of our market. It's a super competitive market. It's very fast paced. You don't want someone causing unnecessary delays and headaches and creating doubt because they're not communicating quickly enough or getting the information quick enough for you. And that's important, again, for your lender and for your attorney. Both should be local and know this specific market that you're looking to purchase in. Again, just to summarize, you want to talk to a lender. They're going to be looking at your pay stubs. They're going to be looking at your W-2s. They're going to want to look at your assets, 401ks, what your bank account looks like. And it, can feel a little bit invasive, but it's super important. So they got to get full picture. They're also going to be looking at your credit score. And all these things can feel a little bit invasive, but they're important part of the process. And it's super important to get them done up front. Sometimes I'll have people try to delay this. Hey, I'm going to be filing my taxes in about 2 months. Can I do it then? Well, no, why don't you talk to the lender beforehand so you can have some things clear before you file your taxes? Or why don't you talk to the lender before so you can have these things clear that, hey, mom and dad are lending me some of the money that I'm going to use for my down payment. Your lender is on your team. They're your ally. So is your attorney. So is your realtor. So we're all on the same team. We all work for you, and we all, need to understand the full picture of what your needs are, where you're coming from, to help get you to the finish line, to help you reach your goal. I hope this helps you. I hope it motivates you, and I hope it gets you started with that due diligence, that homework, that really important first step. And I'll see you on the next video with the next step of your home buying process. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, anything you want me to delve further into, please feel free to reach out. Please feel free to write it in the comments. I'm happy to make more content or help explain things a little more in depth if you need it. As always, Ileana Fleischman here, and I look forward to bringing you home.